tonight's big stories. The death toll from the capsized boat in Binangonan has climbed to 27. The motor bangka was battered by strong winds when it set sail on Thursday, but also it was allegedly overloaded.
President Bongbong Marcos returns home from Malaysia with a handful of business commitments, including
And Justice Secretary Boying Remulla admits that there might be more than one mass grave inside the new Bilibid prison.
Welcome to the show. I'm Regina.
I'm Gretchen and I'm Shawn.
We begin tonight's broadcast with a tragedy over in Binangonan, Rizal, where an overloaded motor bangka capsized after being battered by strong winds.
The vessel's captain has admitted that he allowed more passengers on board than what was declared on the manifest.
The Coast Guard has likewise admitted that they're also partly at fault. Arian Kalumbiran with the big story.
This is the somber scene in at least 6 barangays in Tanim Island where families are mourning those who died from the capsizing of a motor bangka off Binangonan, Rizal Thursday afternoon. Among those who lost loved ones is Carissa, who lost 3 family members.
Ano po kasi nangyayari dito pagka talagang umuuros na ganun, nagpapalipas. Hindi, tumuloy pa rin. Pataob wala. Sabi ko, naku po, Diyos ko. Pataob, wala na. Bakit naman ganito?
The captain of the motor bangka, MV Aya Express, gave an emotional apology to the victims' families following the incident which claimed the lives of at least 27 people.
Sana po, mapatawad po nila ako sa trahedyo po na nangyari. Hindi ko naman po ginusto yun po. Sana po, mapatawad nila ako.
It was past 1 p.m. on Thursday when Binangonan residents saw the boat capsizing in Laguna de Bay following strong winds. Aside from the 27 people who died due to the incident, at least 43 other people have been recorded rescued so far, which means the actual passenger count is at least 70. That's way higher than the 22 passengers listed in the manifest and also a far cry from the motor bangka's 42 seating capacity. Captain Anayan admits that there were more people on board than what was listed in the manifest.
Papamarites po ako noon. Sabi ko po, hindi po ako pagkasakay na madami. Hindi ko po alam na noon habang naglalakad po ako na Coast Guard, sumasakay po na may sumasakay.
While some of the victims' families are putting the blame on the captain, a number of survivors say the Coast Guard should also be held liable as they claim that the PCG was not able to inspect the vessel before it set sail.
Hindi mapayag ang Coast Guard na maglayag yung bangka na marami kami. Kung meron, ma'am, hinarangan na kami. Pinababa na kami.
The Coast Guard has also admitted that there may have been possible lapses on their part. The incident is now under investigation. 2 personnel have also been relieved from their posts to make way for the probe. The Coast Guard also explained that the passengers insisted on boarding the vessel after being stranded due to Typhoon Egay.
3 days ang walang biyahe. Kung nakita pa yung bangka, nagsampahan sila ngayon.
The boat's captain, meanwhile, refused to comment on allegations that there were no life vests for his passengers. For now, the PCG says there are no more families still asking for help to find missing members who boarded the motor bangka. But they say search and rescue operations still continue. Arian Kalumbiran, we are One News.
Let's get the latest on the search and rescue operations with Rear Admiral Troy Cornelio. He is the Coast Guard District Commander in the NCR and Central Luzon. Welcome to the big story, Rear Admiral. Have there been any more casualties recorded than the 27 already reported? And how are the survivors that you have rescued?
Well, as this date, the latest is still 27 and 43. A while ago, the number was 40 and 26. But as of 4:30 this afternoon, the numbers increased to 27 casualties and 40 survivors. Hopefully that will be the last update, but still we are not satisfied with our efforts since there is no actual manifest to make reference. That's the reason why we are still conducting search and retrieval operations up to Sunday.
Right. Rear Admiral, do we have an idea exactly how many people were on that boat in the light na wala ngang manifest, Rear Admiral? May iba nagsasabi 66, minsan 70. Have we ascertained exactly how many people we're looking at?
Well, actually, what happened is, as mentioned by the captain a while ago in his interview yesterday, while going to our substation to submit the manifest, when he arrived at his motor banca, there are people trying to board his motor banca or his vessel, and he could not control it, and that's the reason why he opted to cast off immediately in order to prevent more people from going on board the vessel or the motor banca. So we assume there's no manifest that we can make reference. And kami naman po sa Coast Guard, worst scenario, we could still expect some casualties aside from the numbers given a while ago.
Sir,
Hopefully, that will be the last update,
yeah.
the 27 and 43.
So I understand the investigation is ongoing, no? Pero ano po ba dapat yung protocol here? What should the Coast Guard have done? Ano yung lapses niya?
Well, one clear lapse is the failure of our personnel to physically inspect the vessel. Having, of course, when he inspect the vessel physically, we would notice that there's really a huge discrepancy from the 22 as declared in the manifest from the actual number of people on board. So doon pa lang dapat hindi niya pinayagan umalis yung motor bangka. Second, yung mga other protocols like wearing of life jackets, checking the ship's licenses, and all of these things. Our personnel was failed to do it. That is why we immediately relieved him and undergoing appropriate investigation.
Rear Admiral, ikaklaro lang po natin, meron po bang actual manifest? Nakuha po ba ng Coast Guard yung manifest na yon? At meron din po bang life vest dun sa bangka? Kasi we're getting reports na wala, parang hindi nagko-comment pero yung mga natagpuan, wala raw life vest. So can you clear that for us?
Well, that is subject for the investigation that we are conducting. With regards to the life vest, we assume na meron yan kasi meron siya marina licenses eh. And ang nakalagay naman sa policy ng marina is either wearing it or holding the life vest. And with regard to the usual expectant that we are conducting, our personnel failed to do it. That is the reason why he's immediately relieved.
Okay. Rear Admiral, isa rin pong kaklaruin ko kasi I'm hearing reports that one of the reasons why this capsized is because yung trapal po nakababa siya, tapos people moved over to that side. How can we prevent similar incidents in the future given the construction of our boats? Because it could also be a part of the problem.
That is actually correct. What we observe is yung trapal nga, nakalagay siya to prevent passengers from getting wet pag umuulan. And ang nangyari po dyan, nung dumating yung storm surge, nasira po yung starboard or right side na outrigger. The passengers panic. They, out of extent, they immediately shifted to the port side. And coupled with strong winds, yung trapal parang naging naging parang sailboat, yung effect sa sailboat, naging nilayag. And it further caused the capsizing of the motor bangka.
Right.
That's how we see it.
Right. Rear Admiral Troy, yung isa pang lumabas sa early report ninyo sa inyong investigation is hindi daw gaanong seaworthy itong vessel, itong bangka itself. It said equipment, some parts needed to undergo investigation or some sort of repair. Can you clear that issue up for us? Ano ba talaga yung nagyari? Hindi ba talaga seaworthy itong bangka?
Well, that is subject for our investigation to find out kung tama nga yung information na yan. Pero assuming na meron siyang licenses from the Marina, in fact, we had a meeting with the Marina kanina and with the cooperative of the Motor Bunker Association, and these things will be discussed during the conduct of our investigation.
All right. Maraming salamat, Rear Admiral Troy Cornelio, for your time tonight and for talking to us. Coast Guard District Commander in the NCR in Luzon, Central Luzon.
Meanwhile, the Philippine Coast Guard also has its hands full with ongoing search and rescue operations in Cagayan. The PCG has deployed 5 more teams to help locate 11 missing persons, including 4 Coast Guard personnel whose boat capsized while conducting rescue operations. The PCG says strong winds and big waves due to Typhoon Egay could have washed them along the Cagayan River further up north. Authorities are tuning their search along 3 islands, Fuga, Camiguin, and Dalupiri.
Again, lahat ng buong person ng Cagayan ay hindi titigil na para mahanap po itong mga victims natin, especially our personnel. So again, nasa stage pa lang tayo ng search and rescue. We are hoping and praying na they are on the safe zone.
And over in Ilocos, the challenge is with relief operations, particularly in isolated areas. The supply of relief goods had to be transported by boat in order to reach isolated barangays in Narvacan and Santa Maria. The bridge that connected these 2 towns was destroyed during the onslaught of Typhoon Egay. Strong river currents also made it difficult and dangerous to deliver the much-needed supplies. The provincial government is now seeking the help of the DPWH to repair their bridges and for river dredging activities moving forward.
Natural na may black sand dito kasi galing naman sa bundok yun eh. Yung tubig na rumaraga siya, may kasamang black sand yan eh. May kasamang gold dust pa. We are interested in the dredging. Kasi mababaw na yung aming mga ilog. Kahit na trabaho tayo ng trabaho, pagka rumagasa na naman yung tubig, masisira lahat ng trabaho natin. So, unahin na natin yung bigyan ko ng priority yung dredging.
Now, a bit of good news amid all the bad news caused by Typhoon Egay. The water level at Angat Dam rose by 5 meters based on Pag-asa's data earlier today. Now, the water level, it's now at 188.20 meters, significantly higher than the 182.98 meters that was recorded on Thursday, July 27. Still, it's more than 21 meters below the normal water levels during the rainy season. Nonetheless, MWSS is happy with this progress.
Of course, nalulungkot po tayo doon sa mga naapektuhan ng Typhoon Egay. Pero kailangan po natin na tumaas ang ating elevation doon sa sinasabi nating 90% na nagsusupply ng tubig sa Metro Manila.
And so does this mean that there will now be fewer water interruptions in Metro Manila? Let's find out from Shyla Francisco. Shyla, go ahead.
Shawn, as the water level in Angat Dam rises, water service interruptions are expected to be reduced as there is now sufficient supply for Metro Manila and nearby provinces. Any future water service interruptions will be for maintenance purposes. But despite the rise in water level in Angat Dam, supply for concessionaires is being reduced from 48 cubic meters per second to 30 cubic meters per second. The MWS has explained that they want to store water in Angat Dam first. Releasing a larger supply would be wasteful since it would flow directly to La Mesa and Ipo dams, which are currently full at the moment. Currently, the MWSS is studying the allocation that they will be requesting for August. They are also trying to maintain a level of 210 to 214 meters by the end of the year to ensure sufficient supply in 2024. Shawn?
Thank you, Shyla Francisco.
Now, after Egay, the country is bracing for yet another possible typhoon expected to enter PAR this weekend. Currently, that cyclone with international name Kanun is still outside PAR, located at 1,365 kilometers east of southern Luzon. For now, it is still a tropical storm, but it's expected to intensify into a typhoon and also enter PAR by tomorrow or on Sunday. Once it does, it will be named Falcon, the 6th tropical cyclone this year and the 3rd just this month. expect a rainy weekend ahead because Kanoon's trough is expected to bring scattered rain showers and thunderstorms over Mindanao. The cyclone is also expected to intensify monsoon rains in Zambales and Bataan. Occasional rains are also expected in Occidental Mindoro, Northern Palawan, Metro Manila, and other parts of Luzon. Up next, President Marcos says the Maharlika Fund has drawn a lot of interest from business leaders in Malaysia. More on that when the big story returns. Keep it here. You're also watching the big story here on One News. President Marcos has had quite the week, kicking off his SONA and capping it with some pasalubong from Malaysia. So sabi nga natin, every foreign trip, he calls this economic missions in his SONA, right? So what did he take home, girls?
Well, I heard there were some $285 million worth of investment. Siyempre, pledges. And as we always say, pledges pa lang ito.
Yes.
Sasabihin ko pa lang, ayan na si Reg. Pledges pa lang yan.
One thing that I said to you that I was kind of excited about was this commitment from this dairy company from Malaysia called Farm Fresh. They're looking at
200 to 400 hectares.
Correct.
Yeah.
200 to 400 hectares here to build a dairy production facility. Right? I mean, if we had that, wouldn't that be exciting? Because at the moment, we're importing most of our milk. Believe it or not.
That's true.
Despite
That's
our
true.
agricultural lands, we still import milk. Imagine if we could produce it locally, tapos tayo pa yung mag-i-import. How much that would change things, right?
Well, they did talk about Sabah also.
Yes.
And agreed to work on the solvable issues.
Yes, like such as yung Filipinos na nakakulong doon dahil lost sila. They didn't know that hindi na pala Pilipinas yung Sabah. So a lot of our kababayans, of course, are in jail in Sabah. I think that was talked about without the issue of...
That's progress.
Yes, without the issue of the territory actually being brought up.
Kung may mga inuwi si PBBM, meron din siyang ibinenta sa Malaysia. Like we talked about before the SONA, the Maharlika Investment Fund. Several Malaysian business leaders have reportedly expressed interest in the MIF. The president said Malaysian investors have become more careful given their experience with their own sovereign wealth fund. Malaysia's 1MDB earned global infamy after it became an avenue for large-scale corruption and money laundering.
It is left to those financial managers that we will be putting into place. So, with that assurance, I feel that they do not. I think the assumption is that everyone has learned the lessons from that from what happened.
Now, Now, aside from all these potential deals in the pipeline, President Marcos also reportedly managed to expedite a big-ticket investment project on railways. Let's get the details from Elaine Fulgencio. Elaine, what's the story there?
Reg, House Speaker Martin Romualdez says that his cousin President Marcos managed to help fast-track a 3 billion peso investment deal between Metro Pacific Investment Corporation and Malaysia's Hartasuma Group. The company is a pioneer in Malaysia's rail industry, providing a range of services from engineering, assembly, rehabilitation, and urban transport solutions, including cable car systems. So it's going to be exciting to see if this does push through. Having cable cars is another option for our public transportation. MPIC, as we all know, holds several investment portfolio on infrastructure, including power, toll roads, and more, here and around Southeast Asia. So we'll see how the deal unfolds soon. Reg?
Thanks so much for that update, Elaine Fulgencio.
Now, President Bongbong Marcos also issued a directive to provide real property tax perks to independent power producers, or IPPs, who are engaged in projects under a build, operate, transfer arrangement with government-owned or controlled corporations. According to that executive order, many local government units have stated that independent power producers are not eligible for the exemptions and privileges enjoyed by GOCCs. Some LGUs have even threatened to impose penalties or to auction off these properties. But according to the president, the government will be shouldering a percentage of the real property taxes that should have been paid for by the independent power producers. It is said that the negative impact will be more significant if the IPP becomes non-operational just because of tax issues. Not only will the local government that oversees the IPP lose revenue, but the public will also be compelled to spend more on alternative power sources.
Question is this move by President Marcos allowed within the country's constitution? Let's get the answer from Maricel Halili. Mase, what do you have?
Regina, under Section 277 of the Local Government Code of 1991, the President is allowed, especially if it concerns the welfare of the public, to reduce the real property tax and interest in any province, city, or municipality within the Metropolitan Manila area. However, not all IPPs are granted the same exemptions and privileges that government-owned and controlled corporations receive concerning real property tax. As a result, the President has ordered that all debts of IPPs for real property tax for the year 2023, including the special levies that IPPs contribute in partnership with the government, to be reduced. Regina?
Thanks for that answer, Maricel Halili.
After the break, the new Bilibid prison will no longer house new inmates, according to Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla. The details when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back. You're still watching the big story here on One News. Are there more mass graves inside Bilibid? That's a very big question, and Justice Secretary Boying Remulla thinks so. Investigators are now looking into at least 3 possible mass graves within the maximum security compound of the prison. This comes after a recent shooting incident which occurred inside Bilibid, resulting in 9 injured inmates. One person also died from stabbing. Additionally, bones and underwear were discovered in a septic tank suspected to be from a prisoner who had been missing for several days. Remulla admitted that it's not easy to change the culture that inmates have grown accustomed to within Bilibid. However, the government has laid out certain reforms, one of which is a moratorium on incarcerating convicts inside Bilibid.
Gagawa na namin ang paraan sa ibang lugar natin dadalhin ng mga taong ito. I will write the Director General so that he can tell the courts that it is already a policy of the DOJ not to bring anybody else into the National Bilibid Prison. Wag mo na inculturate sa isang masamang kultura yung taong pwede namang iiwas mo na. Let's try to spare them from the travails of having to go through an institution like the new Bilibid Prison.
Well, with the weather today, should this come as a surprise? The United Nations says that July 2023 is set to be the world's hottest month on record. Based on a study conducted by Leipzig University in Germany, July 2023 is expected to break heat records. The projected mean global temperature for this month is approximately 1.5 degrees Celsius, higher than the pre-industrial average. This would surpass the previous record holder, July 2019, by at least 0.2 degrees Celsius based on the 174-year observational record. This comes amidst the heat wave and wildfires experienced in Europe and in the Mediterranean. And to make matters worse, experts predict that either 2023 or 2024 will be the hottest year on record. This led UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres to declare, quote, "The era of global warming has ended and the era of global boiling has arrived."
Wow, it boggles the mind because we started the newscast talking about a super typhoon and another one that's on the way and ended it with global boiling. Wow.
I know. All in 30
weather.
minutes.
Oo.
Extreme weather events, I guess, a hallmark really of climate change.
Yeah.
I mean, can we still deny that it's real?
Hindi ko na nga alam kung ano susuotin ko eh. Naka-sleeveless ako pero may dala akong blazer kanina.
Oh, pero
Ikaw
ako rin, naka-sweater ako,
I
pero
know. One of
just
my
in case
coworkers
mainit.
is in a sweater, one is like took off her jacket, so.
Oh, pero ito guys, okay, before we end the work week, here is something to be proud of. Our big picture tonight is nothing but a big win for Philippine representation as Filipino-Canadian Richie Valdez becomes the first Filipina to become a part of the Canadian cabinet. We see her here with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who appointed her as Minister for Small Business. Valdez was also the first Filipina to be elected member of the Canadian Parliament. She was seen emotional during her oath-taking, which she says was a very powerful moment.
I look forward to having or seeing more Filipinos
Yeah,
thrive in
that is
Canada.
something
It's
to
very
be proud of.
exciting.
Exactly.
It is. And a lot of Filipinas also really just raking in victories for us this
Oh
week.
yes, that's right. Something to look forward to this weekend on
Tama,
Sunday.
oo nga.
Big
On
match.
Sunday, Norway
with the
versus the
Filipinas.
Philippines. Oo.
Filipinas versus Norway at 3 p.m. We're all gonna tune in to that.
Gusto ko yung alam mo yung time,
Of
ha,
course,
Reg?
of course. Only on One Sports.
Oh, on One Sports Plus. And that's it for the show tonight.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night. Have a good weekend.